Howdy, my fellow Bart here, and welcome. I have no idea why, but it is whenever I link the link for this video, and it's still showing the wrong thumbnail. So, the nature of what's going on with this stream is just a recap on BSP geometry combining and static mesh combining. Oh no! Go connect to Steam, dummy. I was connected to Steam. Why the hell is Steam not connected now? Yeah, the joy of my template there is it reminds you when you are not connected to Steam. So just kind of doing a quick run-through test on this project. Come on, Steam, open your ass up. You're wasting everybody's time. Okay, are you going to open or not? All right. Updating Steam. I don't want you to freaking update shit. I want you to just open up. You know, there's times where I just really friggin' hate Steam, but, you know, I've gone through the trouble of creating the template for Steam. Hey, I don't give a shit about your news. Fuck off. In fact, I don't care about anything. Had to open you up so I can close you, so that I can run my program. Alright, so this is a quick run through of what I was doing on my project. One of the 4725. Yes, the buttons still look horrible. Alright, so this was the, getting there, you're a bit winded there, bro. As you can see up here on this sign, and in the distance, and scattered around the map, there are various signs that will be running this short video. These will be running my advertising system. Let's hop on the hoverboard and take a ride. So I've been positioning those guys around town. In fact, there's another one right up there. One over here. Just positioning them in town, changing out some of the other signs. Just a temporary video as a placeholder. I've got some companies that are actually working on some advertising for me, and the advertising playlist will have a bunch of different ads running. It won't be just the one video, but I had to get that in here just to get it tested and running. And of course, gotta have a strip club. And starting to work on the coffee bar. Kind of dark and smoky in here. Still messing with the lighting stuff here. There's some interesting emissives coming off of some of the materials. I didn't make them, but love my friggin' very simple hoverboard. Alright, let's get into the main body here. Main menu, exit game. And what I'll do here is I will create a brand new project. You know what, I can just launch the engine and create a blank. So you're going to run into a need for specific items and objects and things for your maps, whether they're temporary placeholders or they are production level or whatever level you want them. So I'm just going to do meshing, because we just meshing around. So we'll go ahead and create a blank project just so we have something to fiddle fart around with. When you're creating your meshes, the correct thing to do is go into like Blender or something like that and actually create a mesh. You can go away. You and you and you. Get underground. I don't want to see you. I just don't like you. Geometry, let's throw BSP. I'm doing my usual junk here. 0, 0, and -5. And we'll do... Actually, I'm going to make this bigger than my normal. 5,000 by 5,000 by 10. And we'll make sure we don't have any game mode whatsoever. So if we hit play, you can see we got nothing. We don't have a character. We don't have anything in here. Don't really need anything. In fact, the mouse cursor, I don't like that. So what I can do is go into open level blueprint and hopefully be able to do this. Okay, you can suck my ass. I hate you, Unreal Engine 4. Remember my damn preferences. Seriously. Autosave off. Thank you. Blueprints, open level blueprints. Event begin play. Set input to game mode only. And I don't really have a player controller, so I don't know how well this is going to work or not, but whatever. I'll try it. If it fails, then screw it. I'll add a player. Set show mouse cursor. Leave that unchecked. Come on, save. And actually, we need a folder in here called, we'll add new folder, maps. And we'll call this our test map. Yeah, I'm almost done fiddle farting with this. Okay, so there we go. No mouse cursor. We can just kind of fly around, take a look at things. Cool. I'm going to move the player out of 0, 0, 0 location, because when you're creating your meshes, I always recommend that if you're going to do it this method, let 0, 0, 0 be your location where you put everything. So to get started with, we're going to show what happens when you take, these are going to be static meshes. This is a static mesh, a sphere, a cone, cylinder. These are all static meshes. So let's actually start with a cylinder, and we're going to 0, 0, and let's just move it up a little bit, get it above the ground. And I'm going to grab, well, this and stretch it. You know what? Never mind. I'll just take 2 cones, 0 and 0, and I'm going to raise it up here. We're going to then grab the cylinder and 0 and 0. So we're going to be aligned. All we have to do is align our Z. And then I'll grab another one of these. And I will just rotate it. Doesn't matter what I'm making right now. I'm just making something. So now we have multiple static meshes that we can combine together. Now, one thing we can do, of course, you know, you always want to be organized. Map shit, and grab all your map shit and throw it in there. We don't need our stuff here, so we're going to just drag this back out. Now, I've got all 3 of these selected. I can hit G, and doesn't work to do anything, but what I'm going to do here is I'm going to call this body, and now I'm going to take these 2 and I'm going to select them, drag them, and drop them back on top of there, and now I have them all grouped together here. So now if I move this, I can move all of them together in one group, so they're grouped together. But I can also do this, grab all three of them together, and all I did was I left click on this one, shift left click on this one, combine them all together, and then I'm going to, actually before I do anything, I'm going to save, and I'm going to add another new folder, and this is going to be mesh. You can put that mesh folder wherever you want. So now with these three guys selected, right click on it, convert actors to static mesh. Now I don't have any other materials or anything else, so it's not like it's a big deal. Actually, to add a little bit of variance in here, I'm going to tell the body to I don't have any other materials in this project, so it doesn't matter. Convert to static mesh, select my mesh folder, and call it whatever I want. It's best to SM underscore for static mesh underscore whatever your thing is. Now we have it. We have created we still have our original we have not messed with, but we now have a static mesh that we can work with. It does not have any collisions to it whatsoever. So if I take these guys and just delete them, I don't need them, and drag my static mesh in here, and I'm going to 0, 0, and I just want to get it above the ground. Now if I come in here, we don't actually physically have a character anyway, but if we were walking in this as a character, there is no collision on it, so we need to add collision to it. So go to collision. Capsule will probably work pretty well for this one, so I'm going to do that. And you see you've got all three materials now, so later on you can come back in here and actually change these materials around, you know, whether it's the one for the body or the two cone pieces. So you still have that option available, but you do want to scroll down and you want to find general settings, light map resolution, change that to at least 64, and then click on this tab here. Make sure there's something in light map coordinate index. So now when you save, your object will have collision to it. See, I'm running into it, and even though I don't have a physical body here, I'm still running into it, and I can't go through. So we now have a solid object we can use inside of our map. Alright, so if I wanted to take this and Control C, Control V, now I have two of them in here, and rotate it 90 degrees and what have you. And I decide I want to combine these two together. That looks, you know, pretty horrible, right? So there, we've got these two objects are combined together into what I want to be one. So again, I can take both of those and right click and convert actors to static mesh. And again, SM underscore star. Now what's going to happen if I go in here and delete both of these and bring the star in here. The original item had collision to it. So this should have collision, right? Nope. It loses all of its collision when you combine them together. It doesn't matter if you're doing BSPs to this or static mesh to this. So if you go into it, if you look, now you've got all the individual materials here. Come down here, light map resolution. Actually, I'm going to leave it at 4 and show you why you want to change that. So let's just go ahead and give it collision. We'll just do a box collision. That's good enough. So if you don't change that light map resolution, see, okay, we got collision now. It's telling me I need to rebuild my lighting, so I'm going to build lighting only. One object in here should not take long. See what happened to it is it's got weird lighting effects on it, and just looks like crap. So if you go back to it, and I'm going to change that back to 64, which is where you should go, depending on how, you know, much you want the lighting to be affected on it. You can go 128, you can go double this, you know, or what have you. So you can see it already is starting to look better. So now it's completed. A little bit better overall. So that's that. Now, you cannot combine a static mesh with a BSP geometry. One of my favorite things that I like to do, I say famous, I'm famous because of this shit. No, not really. Is the floating stairs. Again, I don't have any actual materials that I can work with here, so yes, I could have put starter content in here. Okay, we'll take these stairs and we'll take it up to 20. I said 20. Alright, so we got the stairs there, and it's cool. We have collisions on them. We could walk up the stairs. I know we don't have a body, but we're still affected by it, and we could walk up and down the stairs. But I want this to be a floating set of stairs. So I'll grab this, Control-C, Control-V, and the copied version, I'm going to remove one stair. And now I'm just going to move this over so it lines up like that. And then tell this to be subtractive. You'd ideally want to use the same material on your copy as you did on the original stairs. Otherwise, it's going to remove the materials from back here. So there, we've got a set of stairs that is floating that we can actually walk underneath now. Trouble we're going to run into is we won't be able to give this appropriate collisions, because the way that it's going to try to apply the collision to it, it's just going to, you know, make it into a big block. We won't be able to use it. So we're going to have to use a cheat method, which is good for temporary use. So I'm going to grab both of these guys, and you can't right click on it and combine it this way. So you have to come down here to your brush settings, click right here, and you now have create static mesh. So I'm going to go to my mesh folder and SM float stairs and create. It automatically removes the two of them and puts the static mesh actor in here on its own. Don't know why, but that's what it does with its lack of collisions. So what we're going to have to do is go into the static mesh, same thing, change that to 64. If you hit the tab key 4 times, it will put you in the correct location to fill in the light map coordinate index with at least a 1. And we're going to cheat and change our collision complexity to use complex collision as simple. So now if we look at our simple, not the optimal thing to do, but it works. So now we have stairs, and that's lovely. So what happens now if we take this guy, Control-C and Control-V, now we have 2 of them. And let's rotate it 180. No, I said 180. You do what I tell you to do, and you'll like it. And we're just going to do this. Why? I don't know. Okay, so we're going to combine these two, and screw it. Let's Control-C and Control-V, and I'm just going to be oddball here. And let's we're being artistic. Either artistic or autistic. I can't figure out which one. So we're going to raise that up. looks lovely, but we're just going to lower it down. Actually, raise it up. So, for the example, just to show here now, we have 4 static meshes combined into one that we made from BSP geometries that were made up of both additive and subtractive BSP geometries. So again, we just need to go down to our, brush settings. Okay. I'm sorry, being a jackass here. They're already converted to static meshes, so I need, since they are static meshes, I right-click and convert actors to static mesh. Go to this, and we will just call this SM_diamond. And again, since we don't want that in here in the map anymore, we can dump that. We can throw this one in here, and we'll throw it into the map. There's no materials on it, so you can always add those in later. And we'll change this to 64, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, and screw it. I'm just going to do that. I'm going to do the cheat method. We could pass through, and everything works. They work as stairs still, and we've combined essentially 2 BSP geometries into one, then into 2 back to 1, 4 back to 1. So there's, if you think about it, there's 4 stairs, or a total of 8 original BSP geometries that were combined to make one static mesh. Now, even at this point right here, we can take this and zero it out, grab our star, drag it in there. Now, you'll notice also the pivot point is not in the correct location. That can be a pain in the ass. I mean, yes, it's got a nice sharp point to it, so I can line it up and make it look right. Yeah, when you're doing the naming on it, you really want to go ahead and make sure that you put the SM in front of it. It doesn't matter, but it builds good habits into repetition. You know, the SM in front does not matter whatsoever. It just, if you see SM in the folder, and if you're sorting through your project later on, and I'm actually going to go to my project. I don't even do it. I mean, what the hell is this project called? Meshing. I go into my content folder, and I look in my mesh folder. I can see that that's the static mesh for the diamond, the floating stairs, the star, and the thing. I can see that these are the files for them. So if I need to copy these for some reason into another project, I can cheat sometimes and get away with, well, hell, I'll just drag this in here and I'll put it into another project. So by having a good naming convention, you're going to be able to sort through your files and archive things. So if you're working on something and you don't want to screw this one up, close a project, manually go into your project folder, make a copy of that static mesh, and then go back in your project. And or you might be able to copy it while you're in the project, but having good backups of things that you're working on is never a bad thing. So having good naming convention kind of gets you in the habit of knowing what you're working with. So go back into there, SM_art. Shit. So there we go. So now I can grab you and drag you in here. So that or that. I mean, that's, I don't really want that way. But if you want to combine things into like a single blueprint, I'll create a blueprint here, an actor, BP underscore whatever, and I'll come back over here. I'm going to select my diamond, go back into my blueprint, add component. Actually, no, let's grab the star. But before we do that, something I want to do with this star. Bugs me that, and let's put it at 0, 0. The pivot point is not in the right location. I want it to be right there at the tip. So let's take a look at it. We come over here from perspective. I'm going to go to left view. Right click, mouse wheel in, and then I believe it's alternate key and middle mouse button. And you can lower that down. And let's move it over. And I'm going to right click and select pivot, set as pivot offset. Now, if I go back into perspective mode, now as I'm dragging it around, I'm dragging it around by the correct location. And if I rotate it, like so. So I'm actually going to grab one more of the things here and rotate it 90 just for shits and grins here. See, it really sucks not having the pivot point where it should be. So that should be right. Yes, I'm making some art shit here. Now, what I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to move my pivot point again. Perspective. Right looks good. Left looks good. Front. There we go. So I can see I'm holding down the alternate key and holding the middle mouse button. And I'm setting the pivot point. And right click, pivot, set as pivot offset. And we're going to save that, go back to perspective, and now it should be dead center in here. In theory, while I am doing this, I have them selected, and you see what happens is I select this one, then this one, it snaps the thing to the middle. But if I grab this one and then select that one, it puts it on the bottom. Because the pivot point for this one, the whole main thing, is right there. Right there. But for this one right here, it's right there in the middle. And I want to use that one. So that didn't work. So I'll select this one and then this one. And now my pivot's in the middle. So let's try saving this now and see what happens. So we'll convert actors to static mesh. SM Starry, whatever. So now we have that in here, and if I drag that into the map, it fucked me again. Really? God damn, you suck. It did not remember that that's why I had my pivot point. So it's there and there. But if you look, the actual star, if I drag it in here, its pivot point is off to the side. And that's because we didn't think about this when we were creating it, so it's always going to be off. But even though if I select this, that's there. So let's try seeing what happens whenever I do that. Set it in the middle. All my views are good. So if I look at it, it's dead set in the middle. So it doesn't matter which one I select. And see, it totally forgot already where the fucking pivot point is. You suck so bad. Pivot. Set to the clicked location. If I do that, then it puts it in the wrong location. So right clicking and set as pivot offset. I mean, hell, I've done this before, and it just seems like Unreal Engine 4 just wants to kind of screw me over. Everything that I try to do, I'm going to grab both of them together. You can see the pivot point is there. But whenever I try to save it, it's losing my pivot point. Oh, UE4, you're so screwed up. What happens if I do it there? Whatever. So we'll try this again. Just convert this to static mesh. Go to my mesh folder and SM star thing. If I drag it in there, it screwed me again. Oh, you suck so much ass. Alright, well, the whole point of what I was trying to do here was trying to show how to combine that into a blueprint to do multiple functions. But I don't even care if it has collisions right now. Add component, star thing. But as you can see, it's in the wrong frickin' location. But thankfully, since we have that little circle there, we know that's going to be our center. We know that it was off by 50. Yeah, that is just annoying as hell. We want it centered up on this red line here and on this green line. It's on the green line, but not on the red line. So it looks like -25. You really always want to try to have your pivot point set in the center on some objects or on the far left hand corner, far right hand corner, things of that nature. Because if I come in here and add a rotating movement, and compile and save, and then throw this blueprint into the map. The reason why I wanted that pivot to be dead center is so that whenever I hit play, it spins perfectly. There's a slight wobble in it, but oil well. We're going to have the same problem with our stairs. Well, you know, sometimes you want things to move. Alright, any questions on this kind of stuff here? That's zeroed. Any more questions? Alright, well, if there are no more questions, then we'll get ready to wrap this up. So we got that one done, and well, screw it. I don't want to open you, but did want to add it in. Pivot should be in the middle. And here we're set to 180. Let's try it at negative 180, see what happens. Lovely. Okay, well, if there's no more questions, then we'll wrap this one up. This was a request video, so a little on the fast side. Looks cool, but a little on the fast side. Rotating movement. Slow it down to 80. So there, we can be artsy and shit. Not perfect, but whatever. Just wish you were able to... And yes, this one does have collision. So if you were on this, it would be spinning you around as well. It'd be different if you could go into a blueprint and when you're doing this, add in both components and add in 2 rotating movements. But rotating movement doesn't matter if it's here attached to anything. Everything is going to be grouped together automatically and spin based off of the center axis. If I were to take the same thing here, and since I've got it somewhat centered up, if I were to actually move this, the diamond around, bring it up to here, and yeah, whatever. We're just going to delete this project here in about 5 minutes anyway. Compile and save. Now if we look at it and we do that, it's going to pivot around that center point. So if you're building a radar dish or some kind of shit like that, then you could do that for the attachment point. Fun little tidget. But you know what? Doesn't matter. That project was titled, what the hell was it called? It was meshing. Alright. Well, thank everybody for watching. Location is not available. Well, it's available. And you're going to get rid of it. Thank you very little. Alright. Thanks for watching. We'll see you around.